Let's talk about auctions, okay? It always surprises me whenever I see how little that people actually put into the creation of their eBay auctions. I just got finished. Just yesterday, I posted a video that is already getting rave reviews, if I do say so myself, and it was the eBay auction versus fixed price, the ultimate showdown. When do you do an auction and when do you do fixed price listings? Honestly, most listings are going to be fixed price these days, but there's a surprising number of auctions still being done and a surprising number of auctions being done very, very badly. Therefore, let's talk about how to create a killer auction listing so that you can assure yourself that you're doing everything that you can to get the top bid for whatever item you deem necessary to sell as an auction. If you've tried auctions in the past and they failed, if you've tried auctions in the past and you didn't like the results, stay here. You're going to be maybe a little bit upset that you didn't know all this information before, because whenever I say it, it's going to seem pretty obvious, but at the same time, everything that makes sense seems obvious once you hear it or once you think of it and tell someone else. This might be one of those times. You're going to learn how to structure your auctions so that they just wipe out the competition and you get top dollar. The only thing I can't do is tell you how to make a lot of money in an auction that should have been listed as a fixed price listing. Therefore, you better watch the other video first. I'm just strongly suggesting it so that you know which of your items really need to be in the auction format. And then this video is going to show you exactly what to do to assure yourself of the most success possible. First and foremost, whenever you decide an item does need to be in an auction format, you've got to understand that the majority of bids come on the last day and even the last few hours and sometimes the last few minutes and seconds, depending on how much in demand your item is. You might get a few the first day, and then there might be a lull for 5 or 6 days. Expect that you'll get most of your bids on the final day and maybe even the final minutes. You need to keep that in mind as we go forward. eBay allows us to create auctions of varying lengths. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. That's about it. And people want to know, what is the best time period? The majority of eBay auctions, and this has been true from the moment eBay started because everything was an auction whenever eBay first started. The majority of auctions on eBay are 7-day auctions, and that means they will end exactly 7 days to the minute that you list it if you run a 7-day auction. What's the advantage of a 7-day auction over a 3-day auction? Well, you give the world more time to bid on your item. That's a good thing to do. Now, before you move on, don't move away from this video just yet. Let me promise you something. What I say about auctions makes a big difference in the way that you handle some listings. There are many things that should be auctions, probably many, many, many more that should be buy it nows, fixed price listings. But I'm going to show you why you can make a giant impact on your bottom line when you do an auction. So you need to save this video or make some notes and keep them somewhere, put them in Evernote, do something so that you know the next time I create an auction, I need to make sure that I remember these few little things. I mean, these make a huge difference. There's a YouTube guy, he's an antiques picker, very knowledgeable guy, likable guy called the Antique Nomad. Here he is. He's got video after video, and he's just great to watch when it comes to sourcing. He goes to thrift stores and flea markets and sales, and you'll learn a whole lot. I learn about as much from him as I do Dr. Lori. Both of them are just wonderful for learning about antique types of items and values. And the Antique Nomad, this guy can run circles around me when it comes to old lamps and old antique things that are worth some money. He knows brands, he knows history, he knows everything. But when he does a what sold this week video, which he does once in a while, not every week, he does once in a while, everything that he sells appears to be auction only. And some of the things bring good value because he's got good stuff, but other things, he will comment, it didn't bring as much as I thought it would. Well, that very well could be because you don't know how to do auctions on eBay properly to maximize your dollars, Antique Nomad. Listen to me. I'm sure listening to you and learning a lot about antique prices and values and history. Listen to me when it comes to figuring out how to do auctions properly, because I'm going to show you. I have a feeling some of those listings that you were disappointed in with auctions, I think very well could have brought top dollar, the dollar you expected, had you known just a few little things about how to do auctions the ultra advanced way. And that's why we're here today. In general, people who run 7-day auctions have found that if they start on a Thursday evening or a Sunday evening, that means the Thursday evening starting auction will end 1 week from then on Thursday night the following week, or Sunday night, and the auction will end 1 week from that Sunday. People find in general that those are good times for auctions to end. More people are around on Sunday evening, they're kind of just chilling, knowing about work the next morning. Thursday nights, for some reason, are pretty strong auction nights. To a lot of people, it's the end of the week for nighttime, because Friday and Saturday nights mean they're out on dates or they're out on dinners with their families. People aren't home bidding on things. It's kind of like Thursday is a good evening for people to just be home because they've got a big weekend coming up. They look at the computer, they look at some of the listings that they're interested in buying, and they might do more bidding on a Thursday or a Sunday night. So if you're going to run a 7-day auction, it's probably good to start on a Thursday night or a Sunday night. It's what time do you want your listings to end? Well, if I want my listings to end, I want them to end when more people have a chance to be at their phones or their computers than any other time of the day. Therefore, if I'm selling, some collectible book or rare video game or a concert t-shirt that's worth $1,000 maybe, depending on the bid. I hope there's a big bidding war at the end so that I get $2,000 for a $1,000 t-shirt, all that sort of thing. I want people to be available when my listing starts and ends, because I remember the two big times of bids are at the very beginning of a listing, the first 24 hours or so, and the final 24 hours. That doesn't guarantee you're going to get a bid ever, but I'm just saying when you start getting bids and when you get bids for an auction, you will see the beginning and the end to be the major time zones that you get more bids. I want people home if they're bidding on things like, Spider-Man #1 comic book, or a t-shirt, a concert t-shirt from 1972. I want people to be available. I want people to not be on dates on Friday and Saturday night. I want people to not be at church on Sunday mornings or Wednesday night, all of that. So Thursday nights and Sunday nights are good nights to end. And the times to end, 5:30 to 6:30 to 7:30 to 8:30 to 9:30, maybe to 10:30. That's a pretty good time zone to end, but in North America and everywhere, we've got different time zones. So if you end a listing at 10 o'clock on the Pacific, at 10 p.m. on the West Coast, that's like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning for New York City, for Pennsylvania, all that huge population up there on the East Coast. They've been in bed for 2.5 hours. They're not up. They don't want to stay up in bed. I don't want to do that to people on the East Coast. So what I want to do is I want to look at the range, and I would like for all of my listings to end about 5:30 or 6 on the West Coast. That means in Arizona, it's going to be ending on about 6:30 or 7. That means in Oklahoma and Kansas, Chicago, my listings are going to be ending about 7:30 to 8. On the East Coast, New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, all those, it's going to be ending from about 9:30 to 10ish or so, depending on if I start at 5:30 or 6:30 on the West Coast. So keep that in mind. You want to end your listings, therefore you want to start your listings when most people are still awake and are able to work. But if you end them too early, then people on the West Coast, they're still out shopping and stuff. It's 3 in the afternoon on a Sunday. They're out roller skate. Everyone roller skates or surfs in California. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I've just heard that. It's just good science. So they're out surfing and rollerblading. They're not home on their computers yet. Give them a chance to get home or get on their phones and start looking at listings that they want to buy. So you want it to be a good time across the entire four time zones of it, 4 time zones in America. You want all time zones to be covered whenever your listing starts, therefore when it ends. That's really key. People don't pay attention. They hear Thursday nights are good, Sunday nights are good, so they just list them sometime and they don't really think about ending times when people are still awake or when people are still at home. They've gotten home from whatever they did Sunday afternoon. They've gotten home from work on Thursday afternoon. You need to pay attention to the time. I would say 10% of all auctions pay attention to the time, maybe 20. Hopefully there are enough sellers to actually think through some of this stuff on eBay, but I bet it runs closer to 10% than 20 as to who stopped as to who starts and ends auctions at the proper time when people are available in the entire country, the entire North America, to bid on the item. So when you're creating a listing for an auction, instead of buy it now under the format, under pricing, you choose auction. And the listing will change a little bit so that you then can select the duration of the auction, 1 day auction, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, or 10 days. My strong suggestion is either 7 days or 10 days, with rare exceptions. If you're selling a brand new iPhone starting at a penny, and you can do that, we're going to talk about pricing. Be very careful with starting bids. I'm going to tell you how to do a starting bid here in a moment. But if you're starting an iPhone at a penny, I promise you can probably get away easily with a 3-day auction, and maybe just a 1-day auction, depending on when you start it. If you start it on a Sunday night, you probably can do a 1 day on something like that. But in general, for most things, I strongly suggest a 7-day auction. Here's the cool thing. If you start on a Thursday night, you not only get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but you get one full weekend that way. It's always good to get a weekend in there. So if you do a 1 day or a 3 day, I would make sure one of those days or both days of the 3 days is on a weekend. And if you're only doing it 1 day, I'd make sure that that 1 day includes Sunday evening, not Saturday evening, when everyone's out at movies and dinner and all of that. Timing is critical. If you've messed with auctions before and didn't do well, it might very well have been your starting time. But 7 days is the norm, and if you start 7 days, Thursday evening, it ends the following Thursday evening, you get a weekend. But it gets better if you do a 10-day auction. And for those of you who used to do auctions, but you haven't in years, 10-day auctions used to cost a little bit more. I think not anymore. If you do a 10-day auction, it's the same price, and here's what you do. You start on a Thursday night again, okay? Remember that. Thursday night, and you get Friday, which won't be any great shakes, but then you get the weekend, Saturday, which won't be any great shakes, but you get a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it will end on the following Sunday. That's critical. That means you get 2 full weekends and 2 almost full Sundays. You end it late Sunday, not late like 1 in the morning, but late like 10 o'clock Eastern time, so that you get it ending at 7 o'clock Pacific time, something like that, where everyone's awake on Sunday evening. You've just grabbed 2 Sundays. I think a 10-day auction starting on a Thursday evening at 7 p.m. West Coast time, Pacific time, ending at 10 p.m. Eastern time, I think you get the best of all worlds. 10 days, 2 weekends, 2 Sundays, starting on a Thursday night, a good night. You get a Monday, you get a Sunday, you get good auction days in there, but you get 2 weekends and 2 Sundays up until Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern time. That's the best time to list. However, there are exceptions. What are the exceptions? Let me just say that if you're selling something that is a business item that's very popular, some used printer that's really hot right now, very expensive, $5,000 printer, you're doing freight shipping or something, and you know it's going to sell, and you know it's going to sell to a business, you probably want to start that like at 10 a.m. in the morning on a Thursday morning. Think about that. Everyone's at their business during the day. On something like that, you want to make sure that on all coasts, everyone's at work, no one's at lunch, no one is still not at work yet. You want to start, therefore stop those types of listings in the morning time, probably. Maybe in the afternoon, but probably in the morning time. Therefore, your timing is very critical, okay? Now let's talk about price. The starting bid. I like to start at 0.99 cents. Used to, I started at a penny. That's fine too. I think we're still allowed to. I wouldn't anymore. I would start at 99 cents, 0.99, but you don't need the 0. You just need a 0.99. I think I typed a comma 99, but a starting bid of 99 cents helps ensure that you get bids right away. Now, why would you want to do that? What if you only get one bid? Well, that's a problem, but you know your item. You've looked at comps. Do a lot of people want what you have? If they do, it's no problem starting at a penny if you can. But 99 cents is really a good little start price. Here is the key. If you think it's going to get bids without any doubt, you might be wrong, but you're not going to gamble that and lose very often. If you know your item, you know your comps, and it's going to get bids a lot, and it's going to sell in the week or 10 days that you're going to list it, start it at 99 cents. There's a phenomenon that Items get more bids the more bids they have. The more bids an item has, the more bids it will get up until it sells. What do I mean by that? Whenever you're looking for something like that $5,000 printer that's really in demand by businesses, you do a search on eBay and you see a whole bunch of listings with no bids, and a lot of them are auctions. No bids, no bids, no bids. There's a bid of 99 cents. No wonder why they bid on that one. Maybe I'd better check that one out. That's human nature. All those others might be better and no one just has bid on them yet, but the one that has attention gets more attention than all the others. So getting that initial bid's really important. You might start it at 99 cents and everyone else is afraid, well, I might just get 99 cents for this very popular $5,000 printer, so I'm going to start it at $2,500. Well, okay, that's fine. You still might sell it, because it's still a good deal if it's half of what it's really worth. But you're not going to get a bidding war on that sort of thing. You're not going to get an early bid on that sort of thing. You start the bid at 99 cents, someone's going to go, I might get it at 99 cents, might as well bid. And what they've done your bidding. They've done your bidding. Here's what I mean. They now have action on your auction. You have an auction action. And what happens is other potential bidders looking through the for sale list of those printers, they're going to see yours has action and they're going to click on it versus all those others that started much higher and they're not going to get a bid for a long time. So starting low bid helps ensure you get a bid early. However, if it's an item that may not sell may not get many bids, isn't in huge demand, you probably want to start much higher. I mean, let's face it. If you think there's a chance you might just get one bid on a $5,000 printer that is used worth $5,000, you might want to start that thing at $39.99, right? Because probably you'll get a bid or more. Probably you'll get 2 or 3 or 4 bids. Probably if it's really worth $5,000 as is in its current condition, you probably will see bids going up to $4,700, $4,800, but you might not. So you have to be happy with the minimum bid that you get because you might just get one bid. But on a popular item, you want to start low, low, low so that you can start a bidding war. That's the psychology here that you need to understand. If you're not selling items for very much in auctions, you're probably starting way too high of a bid and not getting a bunch of bidders early, or it's not worth as much as you think, and you're going to have to start a little higher with your bid and hope to just get one bid because at least it will sell. Finally, what if you're not around Thursday evening? What if you're not around Sunday? What if you can't start a listing on a Sunday evening or better on a Thursday evening? What do? You just schedule the listing. You can start an auction, and let's say a 10-day auction, starting at 99 cents. If you can't be there to start your auction, set it up, create your listing the way you do it now, good pictures, all of that, create an auction, 7 or 10 days, start it Thursday evening if you do what I say, at the starting bid that is needed for the item. If it's really a popular item, start it low, and then set up a scheduled listing, and you click this button right here to turn it blue. Mabel, the Ajax turned blue. If any of you know what I'm talking about when I say Mabel, the Ajax turned blue, I'm way too young to know what it means. You're old. Okay, so when do I want to start it? Well, whatever the day is, Thursday night, and I think today's Wednesday, so I would start this on Thursday. What time? I would start it. This is West Coast time. All times on eBay are West Coast eBay time. And I suggest that you end it at 7 p.m. on the West Coast. All eBay time is West Coast Pacific time. eBay is located on the West Coast, and all time on eBay is Pacific time, West Coast time. So if you end it at 7 p.m. on a Thursday night, schedule it for your next Thursday night, 10 days or 7 days or whatever you've done up here, starting bid, and you schedule it at 7 p.m. That means 7 p.m. West Coast time. That means 10 p.m. New York, Philadelphia, Miami, the huge East Coast population. They're also still up at 10 p.m. So you're hitting all of America, all across America, all good time zones on a Sunday evening. You're starting and ending. You're starting maybe on a Thursday night for 10 days, ending on a Sunday night. It's all beautiful. This is how you can ensure that your auctions are successful every single time. Does every single time mean every single time? No, there will be situations. There will be exceptions. You might do research wrong. Something just happens. Maybe it just happens not to sell for whatever reason. What do you do then? You can redo the listing. You can change it to a buy it now and ask for a price that you're happy with and just let it roll. But with an auction, the advantage to an auction a lot of times is you might sell it for a lot more if you can get the excitement going, a bidding war going, as I showed you in the previous video on what do you do, auction or fixed price buy it now listing. I told you exactly how and why. I went into further detail here. You now are an expert on auctions. So go make some money.